to our newest installment of Conversations on Climate Change in the Pacific. We are joined by possibly one of the busiest women in Tuvalu today, Eleala Avanitele. Thank you very much for coming to join me and have a little chat about the world as it stands today. I wanted to start by asking if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself and the region and the world that you come from and why climate change is so important to you.
Thank you very much, Kate, for the opportunity. My name is Eleala Avanitele. I am from one of the fourth smallest country, low-lying country in the world, which is Tuvalu. Tuvalu is basically 26 kilometers square, with 10 to 11,000 people living on this 9 small atolls, those 9 low-lying atolls. So, given the context of how our island is, it's very fragile. It has a very fragile environment in which is currently impacted by climate change. I'll give you an example of how it is impacting. 10 years ago, we never had frequent king tides or inundation, which we are experiencing every month right now. And through these impacts, we foresee that it's important to tell our story, and that's where I come in. So I started off with a humanitarian area, which is basically Tuvalu Red Cross Society here in my work of communication. And I foresee and I currently learned that our voices need to be heard not only in the regional level, but in any platforms, internationally or globally. I foresee that our story needs to be about us as people who are living in these communities or in these low-lying atolls or low-lying islands and experiencing this every day, not just every month, but every day of our life, the impact that we are seeing. Recently, we've seen the not only the inundation which has affected our food crops, but it has reminded us that the sea level is rising, and it's rising very quickly, which has come to disturb the fertility of our lands, in which we should be growing crops from it or food, where we should be relying on. But now we have to basically rely on food cubes, which are like containers, tubs, big tubs where we can fill it in with soil and fertilizer to be able to grow our crops. Or some of the practices that are recently practiced right now is that using cement to build tubs to be able to grow crops from there. And it's different. It's different from the everyday life that we see. And that's where I come in. Through these lenses that I see the impacts of our people, it is important to be that voice, to advocate on that voice, not only because I see that I know and I understand that why would we need someone else to talk on our behalf when we could be talking about it ourselves? So through that work, I I was encouraged to be able to play that part, to be an advocate on our people's voices, to amplify their voices in such moments. Sometimes coming to places like COP, sometimes there are so many noise, so many stories, but to ensure that our stories are heard, not only by a few, but many. And what are we leading? What are the initiatives that we are leading right now? Because we're not waiting for that help. Yeah, thank you.
Do you think that global leaders are really hearing those stories? Or do you think that they're really perceiving the urgency of the climate situation in the Pacific?
I think it's the interpretation of it, because I know that for years and years, small island countries or small island developing states, as well as many lowland countries across the world, not only Tuvalu, but everywhere in the world, have been advocating, sharing the same stories, bringing in the people's voices. We've been doing everything. But I think it's how they perceive the story to be true. Is it a fact? Because that's something that we've been hearing from them. Like, is this a fact? Is it a reality? But we've been telling them it is a reality. So I know for a fact that some global leaders are not concerned about it. They will be just brushing it off like, I don't care. It's not happening in my backyard. But it's something that it's a message that we've been advocating on, that if it's not in your backyard, then it will be in the backyard in the future if you don't deal with it right now. So I know that they hear our voices, but it's just a matter of priorities. How can we put that as a priority in their list of priorities? And it's something that we know we can't, because these people, if we approach them, for example, at the setting of COP29, you know how we approach negotiations in negotiation rooms. Every state has to be able to approve that sentence to be able to move on. If not, move on, and then the states who has contradicting opinions, they can just go to the side and do that negotiation to come up with the right wording of the text, which is something that it takes a lot of time for our negotiators. It takes a lot of their effort, and it drains our energy. But it's also something that we all want something on that, like for a cake. We all want a piece of the cake, and sometimes the piece of that cake is more urgently needs to be urgently distributed to these countries that need it more. But the other countries who has the power of that money don't want it because it's their money. So I know that they know that our messages are clear, they understand it, but I think they're still in a denial stage.